Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori. If you're returning, thank you so much for spending some more time with me. I thought I would do a little vlog of my planner situation for one of my videos this week because I actually use it a lot in my workplace, specifically speaking about my Moterm personal rings planner. And since I was in Wichita, Kansas for a library conference this past week, I referenced it a lot, and you can see here that I'm using this weekly that is a Paper Test Designs collab. I'm not quite sure who the collaboration is with, but if you just search Paper Test Designs on Etsy, this is part of I believe it's a home maintenance bundle or something of that nature. And I just really like the format of it, and I originally saw it on Tiffany's Plans channel, and it's been working great for me. So this is actually Wednesday night before the first main day of my conference, and I was just kind of trying to get my thoughts together and get my ducks in a row and focus on what the goal for the next day was. I had to present at this conference, so I was kind of nervous about that, and later on I'll show you in this video what that looked like for preparation for that. But for now, I was just writing in a daily insert by Haru Plans and kind of, like I said, outlining the next day, what sessions I needed to go to. I put down Watermark Books, which is a local independent bookstore in Wichita, but I put this down multiple days and I didn't even get to it till the very last day. It just didn't work out to where I could go to the bookstore until my final day in the city. And I wanted to remember where I was. So, on each daily, I tried to mark that I was in Wichita with these little location icons that I have. And I only brought that one sticker book with me just to try to use them up. I'm always trying to use them up. And then to finish out my daily plan, I just referenced my hobonich cousin, which has everything already laid out for me. And I will put that plan with me up in the cards if you missed it. But I'm just writing down the big events here, like the keynote breakfast and the first couple of sessions that I went to. So one of them, the first one that I went to after the breakfast, was a session about working with young patrons who are close to the opportunity to become incarcerated and how we can better align ourselves to helping them, connecting them with resources they need in a way that's not so explicit to them. And it talked about how to communicate with patrons who may need a little extra help at home, and how they communicate with librarians, and drop your assumptions. You don't know what anybody is coming from, and it's rare that a child will actually come forward to you and tell you their home situation. And so it talked about some signs that you could look for and different ways that we could approach this community to help them the best we can with the limited information that we have. So I really enjoyed that session, and then I had a presentation on diversity in manga, and since I am a white woman, I really tried to frame it as this is something I'm passionate about, but I'm not an expert in it, and I didn't want to speak for any marginalized communities, because when it comes to race, I am not marginalized, and things like that. So I didn't want to make any assumptions or incorrect statements. So I just really made sure to say that at the beginning of the presentation, and welcomed any feedback or additions to what I had during the presentation. And I had some people add thoughts to my slides that I thought were really helpful, and helpful to the other librarians who attended. So it was really good, and I felt like people enjoyed it. I had people coming to me after the presentation and saying they enjoyed it, and then people would come to me the next day and say they enjoyed it. So I felt like it went pretty successful, but I won't fully know until I get all of my presentation feedback or like evaluations. And I've been told that takes a little bit of time, so I'll keep y'all posted on that. So then I just transitioned to like checking my hobonich cousin, seeing where I needed to add anything to my daily, and I wanted to fill in what I had experienced that day. And so I just put in that I planned on working on my presentation this night for the presentation tomorrow. I wanted to film me doing that because I used a lot of information that was in my personal rings planner that I had taken notes on from readings and webinars and things of that nature. And I know this may sound like, or may even look kind of like this lady is putting her slides together the night before her presentation. Yes, I am. Because the way my brain works is I will overthink it to death, and I will never stop messing with it if I have time to mess with it. So I spent a majority of the preparation for this presentation just reading about different kinds of diversity in manga, refreshing my memory on key like terms that I needed to know, things like that, so that like I could feel prepared to create the slides. And I do them the night before because I will end up making like a 63 slide PowerPoint if I have advanced time to create one. Whereas if it's the night before and I need to get it done, I am going to be able to, I think it's like the pressure of having less time creates that sweet spot for me to narrow down the information that I've gathered into what I think is completely relevant and needs to be covered, versus like a bunch of slides on stuff that I really didn't need to cover, if that makes sense. So this is Thursday morning, actually in a session where I'm showing you my notes from that session. And then Thursday night, I went back to my room and planned out for the next day. And I was just updating stuff that didn't end up happening because I overplanned myself this week and ended up having to cancel stuff on Monday before the trip because I did not realize that I was going to have so much to do and so little time to do it. And my boss was like, "You're not supposed to be in the library today. Why are you here?" So I ended up canceling my program and just doing shelving and things that I needed to do in order to feel good about leaving the library before the conference. Because, you know, my library, I have to shelve for all of the children's section as well as the young adult section. And I did bring that upon myself. Like, I took over the young adult section when I added teens to my role. But it's just, it's a lot of shelving. And when I'm gone for multiple days, it really piles up and gets kind of overwhelming. So I ended up just, I canceled the program that I had to be able to get all that done because I was just going to have to stay longer at the library and I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. So that was me just checking in on Thursday. And this is like a little glimpse of the daily pages that I journal in. And then Friday night, I again went into my hobonich cousin to update everything. I had just gotten back from our conference's trivia night, and my group We called ourselves the Dolly Cartons, like library cart, but also Dolly Parton. I love her. As a native Tennessean, Dolly Parton can do no wrong. And so I just wanted to update like what I had done. I went to most of these sessions on Friday, except for one where I ended up taking a nap, because it turns out if you stay up until 3 a.m. on Wednesday night, you're still paying for it by Friday. So I did go back to my room and take a nap just for an hour, and then went back to the conference down, because I stayed in the same hotel as the conference. So the libraries as social connectors session, which was really interesting, and it talked about different ways that we can provide social connections within our libraries. And then I also wanted to add in here that I went to a small independent bookstore that was part of like a overall marketplace. Like, it wasn't a standalone bookstore. It was in like a shared marketplace with other businesses, and it was called Blush Bookstore, and it was solely romance books. So like think of like somebody who really, really loved A Court of Thorns and Roses started their own bookstore around that kind of book, and then branched out to like all kinds of romance, but nothing else. Like, it was just a romance bookstore, which I thought was really unique. I've only heard of like one other bookstore called something like the Ripped Bodice, I think, is in, I don't even know if that's in like New York or DC or wherever. I've never been there. But that's the only other like romance specific bookstore I've heard of that doesn't carry any other genre. So I thought that was really cool, and I went and I purchased a book, and it was really fun. And so I wanted to add that in. And then my trivia team, we won based on our expansive knowledge of pop culture. My key contribution was remembering the lyrics to Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. So also, I just wanted to fill in my habit trackers here. I did a terrible job of staying hydrated because energy was the priority over hydration. And, you know, if I was smarter and thought about it, I'd be like, you wouldn't be so tired if you were hydrated. But I just drank a lot of coffee and soda, and that is who I am as a person. I know it's not healthy. But, you know, at least it showed me that, like, hey, when you are traveling, this needs to be a bigger priority for you because you're not good at it. So, that was pretty much Friday night. And then after that, Saturday we left. So I just kind of wanted to show you all the second independent bookstore I went to in Wichita, which is Watermark Books. And it was a really cool place. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider giving me a thumbs up or subscribing if you're not already subscribed to help me grow my channel. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.